Okay, hello, good morning everybody. Thank you for coming. It's great to be here actually. It was a bit of a pickle for me to get here, but at least, anyway, at 4 o'clock this morning I managed to get here via lots of delays and taxi mess-ups and all sorts, but I'm here, so yeah. It's great to be here. My name is Stefan Van Hooft. I'm from Holland originally, live in the UK, and I'd like to talk to you about Drupal and the Internet of Things today, or if there even is a Drupal and the Internet of Things. And if at any point during the presentation you have any questions or comments, please say, because this is, I like for this to be not just a talk, as in me talking, so please chip in if you have any suggestions or questions, it's all there. Okay. Yeah, just quickly, I run a small company called iCompute in the southwest of the UK, doing web marketing and consultancy. And I run it inside the studio, which is a co-working space run by myself as well. And I run a Drupal user group, which is Drupal Somerset. If you're new to Drupal and you're here for the first time, I believe a couple of you are new to Drupal. A really great thing to get to know other people in the Drupal community. Joseph was saying about it earlier, is to join the user group, and if there isn't a user group in your area, that's what was my case, just set one up and then see if you can attract other people to come and then establish a community in your local area. Okay. Here we go, Drupal and the Internet of Things. Okay, just a little bit of, oh that's better. A little bit of history, what's happened in the last 10 years. We've seen a rise in mobile phones, or an explosion I think. Smartphone adoption, nearly everybody I think in this room has a smartphone of some sorts. There are tablets, phablets. The nice thing is that we've also increased network speeds, so it's much faster to do things on your smart device. We have the cloud, and other things as well. What's next? Right. Okay, we like data. So the rise of the devices has also seen a rise in data transmission speeds. Obviously, we've got 3G, 4G in some places. I don't know if there's 4G in Slovenia now. Is there 4G? Yeah? Great. Fantastic. Okay, and obviously that all helps to, with using the internet and the Internet of Things, and I'll get back to that in a minute. Okay, this unfortunately isn't the sharpest of slides, but as long as you can see the curve, that's fine. Let's have a look. This is just an example of the Gartner Hype cycle about the Internet of Things. And let's see, there's wearable user interfaces and, mesh network sensors and the Internet of Things. Basically what this is supposed to show, I'm sorry it's a bit grainy, is that the Internet of Things is not just something for a couple of years, but it's here to, I don't know if it's here to stay, but at least for the next 10 years or so. So it's a big market. I'll mention something about that in a minute. Okay, coming to an appliance near you, but how? I think that's one of the first microwaves. Just coming back to this graph, the graph in a minute ago about the transmission speeds and mechanisms. Also you got 3G, 4G, GPS. This is just an example of what kind of means devices can use to connect to the internet. Is that clear? Can everybody see that? Yeah? Okay. Excellent. Okay. Just the same thing, but then just in a bit more practical things. Obviously, everybody knows Bluetooth. Android devices are very hot on NFC. You've got RFID, weightless, and obviously Wi-Fi. The next one is not one of my best slides, but this is just an example of devices out there that you could use to connect to the internet. And these are Internet of Things devices. It can be anything, Arduinos. I'm quite interested in this little thing here. That's a Flutter wireless board. It's a very inexpensive board, but it has a massive range, and you can use that to connect devices up, and they all talk to each other via mesh. You can build a really big network in a very inexpensive way. Okay, so how does this all make sense? There are several companies really hot on the Internet of Things. Libellium is one of them, and they've made this very nice infographic of where Internet of Things can be implemented. And I hope it's clear for everybody also in the back. As you can see, there's quite a lot of applications or places where the Internet of Things can play a role. Something that I'm quite interested in is transportation and agriculture. Is this all clear for everybody, by the way? Yeah? Okay, excellent. Okay, so what's all this fuss about? How big is the market? This is just one of the infographics from a company, software licensing company. Yeah, the population explosion, they're talking about 26 billion units installed by 2020. Revenue explosion is going to be massive, 300 billion is estimated, or more, exceeding 300 billion. And yeah, the value is even greater. So there's a massive market, and I think the way I see it, we all got connected to the internet initially with, has anybody used modems to get to the internet? Yeah, analog modems, welcome. Those were the days. So analog modems, then ISDN, then cable and ADSL and whatnot. So those were the times. But the way I see it, we all as people got connected to the internet first, and now it's the time for the devices. And it's a big market. Okay, this is just a slide with a couple of starting points. If you're interested in finding out more on the internet, these are good places to start. You can see Postcapes, they attempt to track everything Internet of Things related. Council is a website where people are listed who have involvement in Internet of Things, advisors, consultants, anything. And the Internet of Things events is a good place to find out what's going on in your area. And I think it's the same with the Drupal Somerset or the Drupal user groups. If there's nothing around you but you have an interest, you set up an event. Okay. So how does this all translate to Drupal? Okay, just to give you an example about community solutions. Has anybody ever heard of Fluxo by any chance? No? Fluxo is a company in Belgium, and I met the chap who set it up years ago at the FOSDEM in Brussels. And he has set up Fluxo, and Fluxo is a community metering solution. And how does it work? It provides a web-based community metering. You can install a Fluxo meter near your fuse box, and then you can monitor, share, and reduce your electricity consumption. And if I go to the next slide here, this is roughly how it looks. So you have the little device and you have the current clamps. So you clamp it and then you can measure your electricity consumption. Oh, this is not new, because I don't know how it's over here in Slovenia, but I know in the UK you can get these little smart meters installed by electricity companies, and they measure all of your consumption. They can tweak it and things like that, and that's all great. But what I like about this is that it's a community aspect, so you can measure and then compare with your neighbors and do all sorts of interesting things. Okay, so where does Drupal fit in? And this is a slide from Fluxo, just roughly explaining how the system works. And as you can see right at the top right, I use Nginx, and the web platform is obviously a Drupal GUI. Okay, so there's a place for Drupal. Right, another of the community solutions is a Smart Citizen Kit. Has anybody heard of the Smart Citizen Kit by any chance? No? Okay, this is a similar thing, but it monitors many other things compared to the Fluxo. It does a temperature and all sorts. And it visualizes it via the web API, and this is what you see. So people from all over the world can install one of those devices, start monitoring, and it all feeds back to a website. I have to say, I'm not quite sure if this website itself is running Drupal. I think it would be nice if it did. But this is an example of another example of a community solution. Okay, so how does that translate to something that can be seen out and about? I was walking near Stonehenge the other day, and I found a sign. The National Trust is an organisation in the UK who looks after parks and things. So I came across this, and I thought, wow, that's interesting. What is that? But this is I don't know if it's a smart gate, but it at least it measures people going through it, and obviously that gets fed back. I don't know if this is connected to the internet. It would be nice if it was. But this is an example of how things could work. Very unobtrusive, but if it's linked to the internet, you can get really interesting data. Okay. The problem or challenge that we have is where to start. And, well, I think the way I see it, where I'm coming from at it, is Drupal is a fantastic community-based and maintained piece of software. And the Fluxo example and the other examples I've just shown you are examples of how the community can actually build something that makes sense. And I've put on there that you have walled gardens such as Google and Apple, and with those you basically give these companies a lot of information and you get only very little back. But if you own the whole system, then it's better. Okay, let's just quickly go through this as an example. You just said I just showed you the gate. Project C, I've named it. This is just a bit of a doodle. I came up with an idea to have a smart cat flap. So an animal goes through it and you measure temperature, humidity, timestamp and speed, and take a photo of all sorts of things. And I made this last year. And funny enough, a couple of weeks ago, I came about a solution that does just that. Okay, this can be turned into a cat flap movement system, or or animal movement system where it feeds back to a website, which can obviously run Drupal if you want to keep it all open source. Okay. So where does Drupal fit into all of this? Okay, I have a couple of slides, and this is the Drupal with the Internet of Things. So you have the sensors, you have middleware, API, and then there should be, here we go, and then Drupal on top. And this is the middleware. Is that clear for everybody, by the way? Yeah? So this is what I call Drupal with the Internet of Things, and obviously you have the users, they use the Drupal site, and the sensors feed into the middleware, and then the API displays it on the Drupal site. That's one way it could work. Any questions? No? Okay. And this is an idea. It's basically similar, but the difference is that the sensors talk via the API straight into Drupal, and my idea behind that is that Drupal then can become its own, say, middleware platform, an all-in-one solution, really. I did this presentation in Belgium last year, and there were a couple of people who said, okay, that's great, but it may not work. Only because, depending on the amount of sensors that you have, or the volume of traffic that you feed into your Drupal website, it may be too much. I don't know if there are any Drupal performance people in the room. Yeah, excellent. Do you have any thoughts on that? I think it depends on how big your kind of system is or setup.
Server, or how big is the sensor pool?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think that's what it's all about. How big the sensor pool is. If you have, I don't know, a couple of hundred devices, I'm sure you'll be fine. And it depends on the amount of data that they are sending to the Drupal site to see if they can handle it. But if not, let's see if we can go back. I mean, this is the middleware platforms. If you have time, and the links I showed earlier about Postcapes, that's a really good place to start, because there are several middleware platforms already out there, and they do just that. They get all the information, and they provide it in an easy, digestible format. Okay. How are we doing? Okay, it's cool to be idle. Yeah, just quickly the slide again about this, the data transfer speeds. You can see the amount of active connections has increased over the years, well, tremendously actually. Okay, I hope I'm not offending anybody who uses Android. This is just a screenshot of an iPad. What is this all about? I don't know how you use your devices, but a lot of the times you don't use them. So you may get redundant CPU, RAM, storage, and redundant Wi-Fi or 3G that you can utilize in a different way. And the same on the phone. Okay, this is a video that I'd like to show you. You may have seen it already. Let's see if it works.
Every day we throw away millions of electronic devices because they get old and become worn out. But usually it's only one of the components that causes the problem. The rest of the device works fine, but is needlessly thrown away. Simply because electronic devices are not designed to last. This makes electronic waste one of the fastest growing waste streams in the world, and our phone is one of the biggest causes. So this is a new kind of phone. It's made of blocks. Detachable blocks. They are all connected to the base, and the base connects everything together. Electrical signals are transferred through the pins, and two small screws lock everything in place. So if, for instance, your phone is getting a little slow, you can just upgrade the block that affects the speed. Or if something breaks, you can easily replace it with a new one, or update it with the latest version. Another great thing about this is, you can customize your phone. So let's say this is your phone, and you do everything in the cloud. Why not replace your storage block for a bigger battery block? If you are like this guy and love to take pictures, why not upgrade your camera? Or if you don't care about any of this stuff, you can keep it simple and get a bigger speaker. You can choose the blocks you want, support the brands you like, or even develop your own blocks. Phone Blocks is built on an open platform where companies work together to create the best phone in the world. To set up this platform, we need to get the right companies and the right people involved. It will only get started if there is a lot of interest in the phone among people. So this is the plan. To show that there is an interest for this phone, we need your voice. You can donate your social reach on the website. We gather as much people as possible on the 29th of October we send out a blast, all at the same time. Spreading all your voices to show the world there is a need for a phone worth keeping. The more people involved, the bigger the impact. Please visit phoneblocks.com to raise your voice and spread the word. Phoneblocks, a phone worth keeping.
Okay. Well, that was just an example of a device that can actually, well, hopefully change the mobile phone industry. Has anybody heard of the phone blocks? Yeah, great. I mean, this was made by a Dutch guy, Dave, in 2013, and it went down a storm really all over the internet. And he's now working with Google on, it's called Project Aura. It's not quite related to this, but the reason I wanted to show you this is that linking it back to Drupal is that basically we can make a difference with it because we have all these smart minds together. Okay, just quickly, this is coming back to the redundant CPU and the power. SETI at home, I'm sure everybody's heard of this. You can do this. The idea is to do a similar thing with all these smart devices. You can make that can be turned into a community grid with services, a processing platform, similar to the slide I showed earlier, and then you have your devices underneath. And this slide is basically your devices. What I showed you in an earlier slide about the sensors. If you look at, for example, the phone, it already has a lot of sensors. You can use sensors yourself or build a platform, but these things already have so many sensors built in, so there's nothing stopping us from using them and building interesting tools around them. Okay. So, do we have a go or a no? Sorry, do we have a go or a no-go? What's this supposed to mean? I'd like to get some feedback. I hope it kind of made sense. But is there anybody of you in the room that says, okay, I've got an idea now. I can see that the Internet of Things market is massive or going to be really big, and I use Drupal. So is there a way? Do you have any ideas how you could apply this? Anybody? Shout. No? Sorry? I didn't understand the question. Oh, sorry. What I've tried to do is give an overview of, say, the Internet of Things with the devices that are there, the platforms that are there at the moment. And then obviously we all use Drupal. And combining those two, is there anything that you say, okay, I know an application for that. Okay, you can say I have an idea that I like to use sensors in this sort of way, maybe in transport or agriculture or say water management, and I want to feed it back into Drupal and display it in that way. Yeah, have a think about it. Okay, I don't know how I'm doing for time. But are there any questions? Yeah? No? Do shout. Okay. Nobody? Excellent. Okay. Well, that was it. Thank you very much, guys, for attending my presentation. Thank you.